you
Hey, girl.
doing?
I'm doing good, girl.
Oh Lord.
It's all right. It's all right. We letting people come on in. We're gonna give everybody a few little seconds to get on in to the show. We're happy that everybody is here. Um, Share the live feed. If this is your first time, welcome to the 40 spot. Um, Comment, subscribe. You can DM us if you feel like emailing us at the 40, the number 40 spot at gmail.com. But we're going to give a little more people some time to get on in here. Hey, Fernette, we see you, we see you, we see you. Faithful subscriber.
Yes, she is. Thank you for showing up, girl.
Yes.
I'm having a little bit of technical difficulty on this music side, Miss Renee.
It's okay. It's all right. It's all right. It's all good. We are the music. We are the thunder. The thunderclap. Pat, pat, pat. Pat, pat, pat. That's our. That's a superpower. I don't know if it's you make it clap because it's making it clap or because everything done started going due south and it just flabby.
And like,
Hello, whatever the case is.
yes, yes. Oh my goodness, that's hilarious.
All right. Look, we coordinated. As I said, do you speak love? Look, you might not can't read my shirt real good, but it got love on there. I see you with your camo. You ready for war? Love and war. We ready for it. Ready for it. Ready for it.
This is what they say. Love is a battlefield.
Woo!
Well,
One
that's
time,
is we winning or is we losing?
look, one time I had this teacher was like, "Oh, and you on the ships of life, right?" And at first I'm thinking like, "All right, now I know he ain't Baptist." He said, "Well, you go from friendship to relationship, then battleship." I was like, you know what? It might not have came from the pulpit, but you're preaching. So yes, I understand the ships of life. You just trade them up. You just trade them up.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think
Absolutely.
we can go ahead and get started. Are you good with that?
Yeah. We're 3 minutes in. I was trying to send the little stuff out, tell the people come on, and I should already had this thing together, but they're gonna get this post a little tad bit little late. But guess what? They can come on in. They
Yeah.
can come on in. Yeah. Yeah, so stop what you're doing. Tell a friend. Tell them to come on, show on.
Room.
Yes.
Try one last time.
All right.
I think I might have been successful, Renee.
It's Sunday. Take your time. Let the spirit use you. Let the spirit use you.
We don't want no problems. We don't want the problems like we had before. This will be a great episode 3.
It's going to be a great episode 3. It is going to be a great episode.
All right, so we're gonna get started. Hi, I am Myochi,
And I am Renee.
and
And
welcome to the 40 spot, where we talk
yes,
about all things being 40, the highs and lows, and everything in between.
yes. So, as I said before, please like, comment, subscribe, share the feed, share our previous videos. This is a great time now since we're kind of in between, sports, the major sports, football and basketball. Catch up on our episodes and still you're able to comment and we will reply back and everything. Let your people know that they turning 40 or they already in 40. This is where they need to be at.
And I
So
actually had someone ask me, they're just turning 35, and they said, "Oh, you know what? I think I want to watch because I want to know what I need to prepare for." I'm like, that is a perfect reason to watch. Maybe
exactly.
we need to have
Exactly.
a 40 prep episode where it's like what you could do to prep going into 40.
That would be great.
The things
That definitely would be
I would have
great.
known, the things maybe I did know already that helped me, kind of get there. Because, like we said, 40 is the sweet spot. Is the sweet
Mm-hmm.
spot. You get to use the information that you've learned over the years and apply it to your current life, and then you
Right.
still have enough time to keep working at the things to correct and adjust as you need to. So 40 is the sweet spot. So now we're gonna go into our segment of while we were out. As we said before, we broadcast every 2 weeks. So because we do that, we like to have an opportunity to kind of talk about a few things that happened while we were out. And it could be in entertainment and in the news, or just sometimes some things with us.
Yes, absolutely. So while we were out, just some, it's a lot going on in the world, needless to say. But Dwayne Wright, from Minnesota, it was a routine traffic stop. During this time, this was 2020, where a lot of places was shut down. So his tag was expired, and the memo had already went out from the governor not to stop motorists because DMVs was closed. So he ended up getting stopped, and 20 plus year old cop Kim Porter, um, shot and killed him. Totally unnecessary. The charges was manslaughter. It should have been murder one. Honestly, if not some type of murder charge, even if it wasn't murder one, it should have been something more so than manslaughter. Um, she did nothing in the video to try to help him or anything like that. So the court started, and there was a conviction, but she only received 2 years. She received about two and a half months time served. She was going to have 8 months probation. Um, the maximum that she could have received was 8 years, but then they said 2 years. So she looking at approximately 18 months, if that. Um, Not full justice at all.
It's never full justice, but 2 years is BS.
Exactly. Absolutely. Like she can't be a cop anymore. She can't have firearms or ammunition or anything like that anymore. But as people say, they will definitely see where she's probably going to use this as a platform, like, hey, let me try to go around and talk to people like how this can go wrong or whatever. But the family of
Dante.
Dante Wright was very, very moving and compelling. But we need justice reform. We need different allocations of funding for the police, because people, they get so triggered when you say defund the police. It's just that having more police does not help, because in places where there's more resources, there's less crime. So that money, instead of policing, people need to go to resources for certain communities. Also, do some more thorough things where people is not so triggered by black skin, and you don't have to go that deep with the questions.
Well, the hard part about that is if you trigger by black skin, there's no program to teach you how not to be ignorant or not to be
And
ignorant.
if you so scared, the last thing you need to be is a cop. Just saying,
Well,
because it just seems like it's a whole lot of scary ass cops out there. But I digress. As we move on to
yes. As we move on to Ahmaud Arbery's killer, we all these killers out here. Um, we talked about our last episode, and we just wanted to say that she's been indicted. We talked about it, and we're very happy that she's being not. Oh Lord, I'm talking about the DA has been indicted, and there's some progression with that.
yes, and also they have started the federal case to see if this was a hate crime, that if it was actually motivated. So to it should be, because it's going to set a new precedence for that. However, because two of the three ain't never coming home no more, and the other one he has to do a minimum of 30 years, I'm still okay. At this point, it's just icing and cherries on top of that cake.
Exactly. But they definitely need to be investigating her because, as we said, she
Them three. This is for Amar Arbery's killers. Her the XDA, her trial has not started yet.
right. Well, I was just saying she was indicted.
Yes.
All right, and then one of your favorite topics that we
And
have been
I,
talking about, Rush,
it's
is we on
yes.
time.
Well, first off,
Going on.
with life, everybody dies. So whether it's be a bomb or whatever, you're not gonna live forever. However, a lot of this that is happening, and I'll be very, very brief. Ukraine is definitely the United States doing, and that goes back pre-Cold War. Um, Also, we as the United States citizens, we don't have to worry about will we be a part of war. They had their Munich conference in Munich, Germany yesterday, and the president of Ukraine, he was very, very blunt. He was like, I don't need your money. I need help in your protection. And it was like, you doing sanctions that does nothing if they're killing my people. Like, he was real. I'm like, I don't know, he might got a little bit of brother up in him. But right now, I definitely feel like this whole campaign, they conditioning the world to prepare, because they keep saying it can happen as soon as next week or whatever like that. I definitely feel like it's going to happen, but they're definitely going to it's conditioning everybody to be prepared that there is a war that's on the horizon.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, and then in a little better news, we just want to make
Yes.
an announcement that we are officially on Spotify.
Yeah.
To Spotify and put in the 40 spot. You'll have to scroll up just a little bit, maybe a lot of bit. But I put it in Spotify. I'm like, where are we? I don't see it, but we are there. I'm sure the more subscribers and listeners and downloads that we get will be closer to the top because there's no other 40 spots. Literally, it's just random people that's before us. But anywho, hopefully in the next time we come, we'll be able to tell you the other platforms that we are on. So we are very excited about that. And the
Absolutely.
very last update in the while we were out, I finished my 5K. Can you see?
Yay. Ooh, medals.
Talk about it in our second episode when when I was preparing and we were talking about the things, having goals and what we're doing to reach them. And although I had my goals and I had my list of things I needed to do, I did not do everything on my list to prepare. But I said, no matter what, I am doing this 5K. I pressed on. I was able to complete it in 44 minutes and 15 seconds, which means I beat the time that I wanted to. It was a mixture of running and walking. So very proud of myself. That means I did at least 15 or 14-minute 30-second run and walk. So very happy about that. That last mile chewed me up almost alive, child. But I made it.
You
And
made it. You did better than me.
honey. And I just want to give a special shout out to my running buddy, Fernette. Like, she ran the whole thing, and I'm very, very proud of her. She
Ooh,
did.
go for net.
He supported me through this whole thing, and that's another reason why when we talked about it on our last episode, having an accountability partner, you kind of just push each other to
Mm-hmm.
the next step, and like she was the reason why I was still out there. So I'm very happy. So I just wanted to give y'all a little update on that.
That's great. That's awesome. Awesome. Awesome.
And as we are entering into the last week of Black History Month, so happy Black History Month. This is actually our redo of the
It's
last time we
okay.
did the
It's
episode
all right.
last week. And so we didn't get everything in that we had last time, but we at least have 1 week of something that we can talk about for Black History Month. So Renee, tell us about your Black History fact.
Okay, so as we said last time, Frederick Douglass, he was born on Valentine's Day, February the 14th, and actually he passed away on which would have been today, February the 20th in 1895. He was 78 years old. Also, Sidney Poitier, he was born on this day in 1927. So I believe on his birthday, he would have been 93, I believe it was something. He was in his 90s. And also, which is a great, great thing. And on February the 20th, 1885, Pineville, North Carolina, Edgecombe County. It was the first town incorporated by the newly freed blacks. It's the oldest town incorporated by blacks in the USA. Right now, it's part of what they call, initially, it was Princeville. That was the name because it was a carpenter. We'll have to go into that. I will post the history of that town, but it was named after this guy. And the town is still there. It has some challenges, but it's part of Rocky Mount, North Carolina. If people is familiar with that area. So very, very, very happy. And they gave us some land that was really no good, and we made something out of it. And it is still here to this day. 1885, first oldest town incorporated by us black people, black people. Your microphone is muted. Your microphone is muted.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes. So those are the things that we just continue to do, and it's 365 Black. It ain't just Black History Month, it's Black History and making history every day. Every day.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, we're going to move into our topic for tonight. And we are so very excited because we're going to be talking about, do you speak love? And we said it like that. It was like, do you speak English? Do you speak Spanish? Do you speak love? And so we're going to be talking about, what is love? What does love mean to you? What are your five love language, the five love languages, and what's your top three? So start thinking about that. But we are very excited that we're going to have Mr. James Bush joining us tonight. Welcome, welcome, welcome. he is a
Hello.
He's a therapist, and he's the host of Mind of a Man podcast. And we are
Mm.
very happy to have him with us tonight. So, JC, we're going to start off just by asking you, what does love mean to you?
Love is whatever you make it. It's amazing how sometimes people they have these ideas of what represents love to them, and that goes into what you were talking about at the title with your love language conversation. Some people receive love differently. And I think
Mm.
sometimes it's on the individual to kind of unlock to see how do you receive that. What does it mean to you? If I buy you some flowers or so like that, if I didn't buy you flowers in a bottle vase or so like that, sometimes you might not feel like that's love.
Mm,
And
yeah,
so it's different for everyone. And I think sometimes that's the big test, is to see that how much do I have this strong emotion for you that I am willing to speak your language or kind of get on your wavelength on how you receive those things.
yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I like that.
What do you think about that, Renee?
I definitely think that at first when he said it's what you make it, it's kind of like, no, it is what it is, but love is what it is, but it is what you make it, because some people, they love in a whole nother different type of way, and sometimes it's their capacity to love still may not be enough for the other person. So I agree wholeheartedly with
Yeah.
you. Yes.
And don't you have, tell us a little bit about the different types of love?
Yes, there are 8 types of love. Initially, I thought there was only 3. So we're just going to run through them real quick and then we're going to get into the meat and potatoes of
Yes.
Do You Speak Love with our therapist, in-house therapist, Mr. Bush. So there's 8 types of love. Philia, this is the affection type of love. This is love that runs deep between true friendships like best friends and stuff. And then you have pragma, which is enduring love. This is love that develops over time. And it's reciprocated in long-term relationships. And when we're talking about this is not just in those romantic relationships. This is talking about love that you have for individuals. So your friends, your family, all of that. In storage, this is familiar love. This is it kind of flows between parents and children or childhood friends long term. And eros, this is romantic love, which people they know, and it's the catalyst, it's the body, and it's engaged by physical touch, hugging, kissing, and whatnot. And then you have ludus. It's the playful love. This is the flirtatious. This is when it's first started. Everything feel kind of giddy and good inside. And then we have mania. This is obsessive or madness over a love partner. The catalyst is survival, and we want to avoid this. So you need to try to focus more on yourself than another person because this is that dangerous, obsessive compulsive.
I can't have you. Nobody can't have you.
Exactly.
Not
And
playing.
that, yeah, but like we've seen a whole lot of movies, and some people they've lived that. If not, they've heard their own tales of this with people whom they know or have heard of. And philatia, which is self love, which I think everybody needs more of. This is just having a healthy love for yourself, self compassionate. And it's the catalyst, it's the soul. So, and how to show you respect, accept, and appreciate yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So, lastly, we have agape, which is the selfless love. This is an empathetic attitude of love for everyone and anyone. So this is the unconditional love. A lot of people may view this as the God love, where it's just nothing that I won't do for you. So those are the 8 different type of loves that's out there.
And it's
That's
probably others, but this is what academia has uh categorize love as, and kind of want to just put that out there so that we know that we're not just trying to make up what we, of course it's going to be our opinion of what we think is love, but this is how they categorize how we our feelings and what love is out there. And tonight's conversation is not just about romantic love, because how you are in love, you are in with other relationships.
yeah.
So yeah, and I definitely believe that it shows up that way. But next, we just kind of go to the 5 love languages, like you said, the meat and the potatoes of everything. Because with love, how do you then show this love? Like all the love categories that Renee was talking about. And so, Dr. Gary Chambers, who was a longtime marriage counselor, he created this book and a concept of the 5 love languages. There's probably others out there, right? But I think it's good. You can kind of put anything under one of the categories, kind of make it work. I would think. And with these 5 love languages, it's just all about how you express and you receive love. I know I kind of want to get into another conversation, but I say that for later. But the first one is words of affirmation. And words of affirmation is things that build you up. Like, do you, when someone's kind of, what you say, gassing you up, like, is that something that you need in your life? That is the very first one. And the reality is, people who words affirmation is like top, um, harsh words and criticism really don't do well for them. I would say, and James, you can answer this question. And I see how you feel about this. That may be a lot of um men's. Is that the right word to use? I don't know. It may
Just men. Just men. Men is the plural.
words of affirmation, because I would say that when you're disrespectful to men, that really hurts them, and most times the disrespect is coming from the mouth. you're using harsh words, and they a lot of time men equate that disrespect to you don't love me, you don't care about me. I just had that thought. Well, what do you think about that as far as words of affirmation when it comes to men?
I think you hit it right on the head. When I'm working with different couples, one of the things that I've noticed over the years is that when you have a party who does have words of affirmation as a high percentage of how they receive love, when someone says anything negative or derogatory or inflammatory towards them, they do not forget it a lot of times. And it's very hard for them to kind of move forward past that comment. That can go for guys, that can go for women as well. I'm not going to say it's either tip the scales of one or the other. But what I will say is that once you recognize that in your partner, then there's a responsibility you to that individual to not cross that boundary, because when you do, you're going to potentially make it harder for yourself. And who wants to do that?
Not if
Is
you
that
get to work.
I have a question. So if you cross that boundary, is it a point of no return or it's just harder to get back?
I wouldn't necessarily say that it's a point of no return, but I do agree with your second statement. It is harder to get back, because one thing about that other individual who receives love, and that questions begin to come to their mind: is this person genuine? Do they truly love me? They've been willing to
Mm,
destroy me and tear me down, and that didn't really help me. And it's amazing because they can get past the statement, but they'll never
mm,
forget about it.
got you. Got you.
I would
Got you.
I would assume it makes it worse if that person is used to saying things like that, so they never actually stop saying
Right.
certain things. So you kind of
Yeah.
build on not just this one, but everything else. So
Uh-huh.
I would imagine, yeah. I would. Where do you feel like words of affirmation falls for you, Jane?
Um, when I took the test, it was probably down in the bottom three. To be honest with you, yeah,
Really?
that wasn't something that I was. I mean, to some men or so, that how you talk to a man, it possibly denotes respect in the grand scheme of things.
Mhm.
So, even though that is something that I definitely will command and demand from anybody,
Hmm.
however, there are other things when it comes to love and connection that I am craving even more than just words of affirmation. Because what I've found is talk is cheap a lot of times, and people, they
You
can say
better say
what they
it.
need to say to play your piano chords of your heart and do whatever they
Hmm.
want to do. So,
Very true.
Yes. Yes,
Very true.
absolutely.
What about you, Renee?
Words of affirmation. It used to be my number one, but when I retook the test recently, it actually became my number three.
Mm,
And I think some of it is just growing up in that I don't see external validation from others that I'm okay with who I am. But as James was saying, it's that respect that if I value you respecting me, because sometimes it's not what you say, it's how you say it. So it's like, look, speak kind to me. Don't do the most when you need to. In some cases, need to be doing the least. So, so like, yeah, I definitely agree with it.
yeah.
But that's my number three. That's my
I would
number three.
say words of affirmation is in the bottom for me. I wouldn't It's not number five, probably more number four. Now I like to be
Oh,
gassed up sometimes. You dress up, you want to be like, okay, I see you. Well,
yeah.
I don't have to say it like that. But I would like, I like to hear things like that. But it's not, I know it's not top for me. It's not my top three. So
Okay.
but everybody's different. And if it's yours, it's good to know, because if it's yours, that's something I think you should communicate and let people know if your love tank not getting full. All
Yep.
right. And so number two is acts of service. So now acts of service is kind of obvious, but I'm still going to read what they say it is. So acts of service is anything that people willingly do to ease your workload, and it's like a sign of love to you. Like for me, the ultimate act of service, if you wash my dishes. Okay. I do not like washing dishes. I have no problem telling anyone I do not like washing dishes. So much so that I have a big pack of paper plates, and I have plastic forks, and I have paper cups. Like I don't like washing dishes. I have pots that. Oh, do I have another pot that I could use? Because I'm gonna put some soap in it and put water and put it on the side, and that may not sound the best, especially in most Black households, because your kitchen should be clean at night. I know, but that's not happening. I don't like. So yeah, I know I kind of went on a tangent, but look, that act of service, honey, you are in love. I'm gonna be in love. Do you hear me?
Trust me. That's
First
my
time
sister.
I
My
wash
sister
my
said
dishes, I am
never.
in love. What you want?
Ne-
I got you. Whatever you want, I'm doing it. Period.
My sister always used to trick me into washing dishes. She hates washing dishes. The dishwasher was definitely invented for people like her, and obviously like you too. I don't mind washing dishes. I don't mind doing whatever I need to do, but it's not like, oh my
It
god,
is. I
washing
don't know.
dishes.
It's just. Mm, yeah, that's not it. What about you, James? What do you feel about acts of service?
Not my thing, or so.
You're like you're not as passionate about me.
I'm not as passionate about it. I'm just being honest. I mean,
Yeah.
I think sometimes when it comes to a space when you, and I don't know, I'm trying to figure out the best way to say this, but when you learn to do, I mean, some things for yourself,
Mhm.
and when you become less reliant or dependent on other individuals, and you just find those things which you enjoy and which you like, or so sometimes you don't really begin to expect anything from anybody else any longer. And so I think that's something that is kind of like, okay, I just work with through that way.
Yeah.
Okay. I do appreciate acts of service. If I'm not mistaken, that became my number two. It might be my number one. I can't think of it right now. But I'm very, oddly enough, I'm very, very traditional, like, as far as the roles and stuff like that. So it's like if you taking out the trash, I don't like pumping the gas. I would do all these things. Obviously, I've been doing these things and stuff like that. So I don't mind doing them. But if other people, if that person, whomever it is, like I appreciate when my son on Thursday night, he pulled that trash out there, and I come home Friday morning. I see it. I was like, "Oh, I love this little boy." Like it really, really makes me happy because it's like this is one less thing, and this is like one of the very few chores that he has to do. But I do like when people they help out because my life is busy. It's busy being a mom. So the little things, like I do not take those for granted. And
Yeah.
I mean, yes, I have been in positions where I have done them all myself, but you become physically and mentally exhausted. So just every little bit of help is just like, oh my goodness, this is great. Like I was just happy when my son was able to sort clothes and start the washer that he was tall enough, to start the washer. Like it's like that's one, even though that's small, but there's something else that I don't have to do that I can get more other things done. So
And I think
it
people
was
get
great.
they you kind of can get something from that. Not everybody, because everybody's love language is different, and what you need in relationships, any relationship, is different. But I think maybe it's the act of service because it helps you. It kind of makes you feel like someone has seen you. Like they see that, oh, this person is tired. Let me get in here and try to make it better for them. So it conveys this idea of caring and concern. Not necessarily.
Hmm.
Now, let me tell you something. Somebody might not give a doggone about them dishes, but I don't even think acts of service is my love language. Washing my dishes. is the love language.
Specific.
I had to put it under something. It would go under acts of service. That's just very specific to me, but just in general, because that is just something that I don't like, but I can do it, I guess. But just in general, I think people who that is definitely their love language. It's just that knowing somebody sees you and they want to make your life easier in this way. So let me help you with this. Let me get this. Like my grandfather or my grandmother now, he would start in the winter, he would go outside, start up her car. If she didn't have gas in her car, she didn't know because he already took the car to the gas station to fill it up. So when she was getting ready to leave, all she did was jump in and drove off.
Nice warm car in the summertime. When it started out, so it's nice and cool. Wait.
He would be like, "Babe, let me let you know. Let me know when you're getting ready to leave." And I guess that brings the question of some things is in nature or nurture. You see certain things, so
Yeah.
therefore it's like, oh, well, this is what love is. This is how a man should treat me. Not necessarily true. It's just this is what you see, so therefore you might want it. I mean,
Yeah.
I think that's more. That's maybe another topic, but
And I think it's also being seen. Like, do you notice me? Do you see what I do on my everyday? Have you picked up that this is something that I will do, but I don't enjoy doing it versus, oh, she showed it, wash them dishes up good, and it's just kind of like to turn around and be like, so you gonna fix me something to eat? Like, hell no, I'm not fixing you nothing. I just wash the dishes. Like, they need to stay clean and unused for a period of time before I go back in there and be rattling dishes and whatnot.
this is why I have paper plates. Everybody gets paper plates.
So I guess when they make those disposable pots and pans, you first in line.
Honey, y'all, I'm boom. Do you hear? Winning. The number three love language is receiving gifts, and that also is very obvious, right? Receiving gifts is when someone is showing you a gift for special occasions, or just oh babe, I'm thinking about you and I brought you some flowers. There are a lot of people, and I hate to classify, but I'm going to classify this a little bit. A lot of women who, receiving gifts is their love language. That could be something that because it's what you saw or you expect or you want. So that's something that, someone doing those certain things for you and buying certain things that shows you love. I would say that receiving gifts is number 5 for me.
Me
I,
too.
I wouldn't say that I don't like gifts. That is not what I'm saying at all. But it's not how you can, show love to me. What about you, James? What's your thoughts on that?
um, Again, I think it goes back to the acts of service. I think sometimes when you get to a point where you become I hate the self-sufficient. You just go, man. You just do for yourself. It's something you work hard for. And so like that, what I can provide for myself is the standard I set for myself. Now, necessarily, if I go and I try to set that standard on other individuals or so, then I might be disappointed because everybody doesn't have that bandwidth or the ability to do so. So what I do is just you find out what you desire. You like some kicks, some J's, some nice fit clothes, electronics, whatever. You work hard, man, and you go and you do that for yourself.
Yeah.
Well, it's giving gifts your love language because I think that kind of goes both ways. Because some people, they feel like, hey, this person loves me because they're giving me stuff, versus some people that's their love language being the giver.
Yeah,
Expression.
yeah.
So which one is you?
No, definitely.
What about a giving?
I'm more of a giver than a receiver.
Okay,
Excuse me.
bless you.
True. So do you
So,
feel like when, in expressing your love, it may not be your one way, but do you feel like you do give gifts no matter what it is, if you have kids and I saw this, so I thought about you, so I bought this for you. Do you find
definitely.
that something you do?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's just. I mean, for me, I get excited just putting something together for somebody,
Mm-hmm.
and the whole process that comes along with it, the shock, the awe, the surprise, the text message after the fact. When those type of things, that kind of gives me it gives me joy, and so
Yeah.
I'm more of a person that likes to give and provide those things, especially when it's unannounced or especially when you hit it with something what they really want.
Right.
And so, I mean, that's exciting to me.
So would you say that's your number one?
When I say that's number one, it's up there. It's definitely up there.
It's only 5. It ain't.
I know it's only
It
The
five.
might
bottom ain't far from the
be
top.
2, 3. It might be
But
teetering for him, like 2, 3.
two or three. I'll say two and three. Two and three.
Okay.
I think
Okay.
that's interesting that you said that because although I would say receiving gifts is number 5 for me, I would say the same thing that you said about like I love giving gifts. So like when Christmas time comes, I'm trying to think ahead of time. Oh, what do I want to get? What it's like I don't want to just get a gift card. I like want to put thought into my gifts, and so I think that's very interesting because I've never even actually thought about that. Like it's number 5. However, I mean I enjoy that piece. I wonder what
Why
that's
you
about.
laughing, James?
I'm looking at the comment section, and somebody said that better not be a Corona sneeze.
That was me. I typed that
It
because
might
I don't
be.
know.
That was funny. That's like I looked at that. I was like, wow.
I typed that because look, I don't know the
That
way
sounds more like
things
a little
looking.
allergy.
Girl, let me tell you that Corona cough,
she
that
said
Corona
Corona.
sneeze, it sound the same because you in the store and then somebody sneeze, everybody like,
And let me tell you,
who
what I'm
did
looking
that?
for when people
Who done
sneeze
it?
is do they still have their mask on? A, are you wearing a mask?
uh,
And B, if you are wearing a mask, did you move it? That is like the worst. I have been with people they move their mask and sneeze like, well, god damn it. That defeats
Ooh,
the purpose.
it was this man at work one day. He moved his mask, he took his gloves off,
mhm.
moved his mask down, sneezed over everything.
And pulled it up.
No, got some tissues, blowed his nose, put that down over there near the other person workstation. Now I'm watching this, and then the older lady, I call her my auntie. She looking at it. She was like, "You see this shit?" And I'm just like, if it's time to turn up, I'm finna roll with my aunt because it's just like this is at the height of this is 2020. I would never forget this. Like since then, like I don't know, it's kind of sketchy with how I feel about him now, but it was like dude, you just done put all of this everywhere in the atmosphere. You are crazy. Then he goes back, pull his mask up, put his gloves back on, ain't wipe nothing down. She go over there, put her hands on him. He'll say, "You ain't gonna wipe that down." He was like, "Why would I? That's a sneeze." You're like, "Motherfucker, it's your sneeze. The fuck you doing?" It is just she was like, "See." She was like, Renee, I was sitting up there looking like, man, look, if you knock his throat out his neck, I'll knock his head off his neck too. Cause I was just like, you so fucking nasty. Nasty, nasty. Every time I see it, he always be like this. And I was like, put your mask on when you sneeze. Motherfucker.
You
Excuse me,
mad, ain't
but
you?
girl, I was sitting
You are still mad.
this 2020, look, this when everybody was traumatized. It was just like, look, this is before any type of vaccine, everything. This is when it was hard to get masks and stuff. And it's just
You
like,
still sound mad and triggered by this story. You
he
telling this story
still,
like it happened yesterday.
and he's still nasty to this day. He's still nasty. He's still nasty. I ain't gonna say where he's from and what's his name, but
Please, please
he
don't.
nasty. We all know somebody, but he nasty. I work with him. I work with a lot of nasty people,
Well, I
but
know.
he moved to the number one. He's holding number one strong. Nasty
So I know you
ass.
didn't get this gift or any other gift to show no love or appreciation. And I'm more than sure you don't want to go to number 5 one, which is quality time. You want to spend as least amount of time with him as possible. Now, quality time is when you're like you're in a position you give your partner your undivided attention, and um, it makes you feel important when you're with that person. I would say that quality time is my number one love language, whether it's with a partner or my family or my friends. Like those
Hmm.
things that charge me, being able to hang out with friends, to just it doesn't have to be a club. It doesn't have to be a vacation. Although I love all those things, it just be sitting down watching regular TV, watching CNN, and engaging and connecting. Quality time is number one for me. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's definitely number one for me. What about you, James?
For me, it goes back and forth between that and physical touch. I mean,
Mhm.
because I enjoy spending quality time with people. I mean, planning dates, doing things together, the activities, the experiences. That's what it is for me. I mean, when you can go and you can look back and see that you were here with this person or you were there with that person and y'all had a moment. And a lot of times it's not even about money.
Yeah,
Y'all can be sitting and watching a television show or so like that, and all of a sudden you hear something weird or anything like that, and y'all look at each other and y'all just start bust out laughing. I
yeah,
mean, that's those type of things that pictures that you can put where you were at certain venues or spots or certain things. So my point is like, yeah, that's my thing, quality time.
yeah. 'Cause like what
Okay.
you said, quality time, it creates the memories.
Yes,
So it becomes something that's long lasting. So
yes.
you can look at a picture or you think about something and it's like, oh my God, you remember that time? And then you laugh like it just happened. Like when Renee spent quality time with her coworker. She didn't laugh about it. But it's just like that, where when you get to look at pictures and you think about different times that you've been able to spend together, you kind of get transported back into those moments. And it really, to me, I think quality time really builds connections, whether it is romantic with your friends or with your family. Renee, where's quality time for you?
Quality time is my number two,
Hmm.
and I think it was acts of service was my number one, and number three was words of affirmation, and then physical touch and gifts was last.
Okay, okay. So quality time, me and James are kind of teetering. So the next one is number five, physical touch. And physical touch is holding hands, kissing, hugging, um, being touched in your preferred way. Like I'm going to reference back to my grandparents. I mean, I grew up with them, and just the way they loved each other, physical touch was definitely part of their expression of love. Like my grandfather passed by my grandmother when I was 5, and when I was in my 30s, and tap her on the booty. Like that was just what she. And if she didn't do it, she probably would be like, "And what's the problem?" you know. And I would say physical touch is a love is maybe it's like 1.5 for me. Physical touch is I think a lot of people consider physical touch, it goes to like sex, interesting
Yes.
stuff. But I think it's all of that. It's the
But it's whatever that person desires, right?
true, your
And,
preferred. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
and so the thing is, regardless, uh, if you don't like, or if you're a person that doesn't like giving that aspect to another individual who receives that way, that's
Mm,
probably not going to be a beneficial relationship for you, because
mm.
at that point in time you may be acting against your will. uh you won't be what they say, a cheerful giver. And because,
Anything of sorts.
of sorts, and because of one of those things, I mean, who wants to be bothered? And sometimes when it's like not done, I guess, in the right spirit or with the right heart. So
Exactly. And that kind of goes to the next question. It's like, okay, so you know your love language. What happens when someone doesn't speak it? And especially when you say, hey, I speak this language. This is what you speak. And the other person's like, this is just me. I don't like that. Specifically, physical touch. Well, I don't, I'm gonna just lay here. I don't rub on me. I mean,
hey,
that's how you know.
we call that starfish right there. That's starfish.
Stuffing?
Starfish.
Or just like this? I've never heard of that.
I never did either. Okay,
Okay,
that's a
I like
new
That's
one.
that. I
starfish.
was like, don't be selfish to me.
That's one or two. We call that starfish or that hunt here.
So what is it? What do you do when someone doesn't speak your love language?
Well, that's gonna be very difficult, and I think that's one of those things that when you're dating or so, you find out beforehand. What I found is that sometimes people, they just rush into things. They go off of what chemistry is or emotionality is, or they're tired of waiting, and they jump into things that are not beneficial for them in the long run. And
Mm-hmm.
so my point of view to them is you take the time, one, to know yourself, evaluate yourself, develop that emotional intelligence that you have and that self-awareness. If you are in a relationship where you're not getting that part from that person that you need, that can be supplied, I'd run like hell. I mean, I'm
Take
serious.
off.
Put on your Nike spikes and go.
Yeah.
Because
And the
that's
word supplies run off the plug twice on their ass. Just
I
take
mean,
off.
why bother? I mean, be truthfully honest with you, why bother?
But I
Because
think people,
people don't change. People do what they want to do, overall. So I was like, why bother? Why even debate it? Disney lied to you. That hope, women, and prayer, that's not going to take place. And so at the end of everything, you just have to go and make the best decision for you. That person cannot give it to you. Run. I mean, royally.
and
Thanks.
so many people don't. So many people are like, well, I guess they fix it in their mind like, well, this person has these things, right? Whatever they list may be. Funny because we had a conversation about lists yesterday, but whatever their list may be, and it's like somebody will check off some of these things on their list, and but you get to this the way they love you and the way you what you need for that love cup to be full, and it's like you rather have a half empty cup than not have somebody at all. But eventually, that half empty cup, honey, it's not going to give what it needs to give, and you're gonna be trying to get filled somewhere else.
Yes. And we have a comment where it says love language ain't the end all to be all. It's suggestions. Yes, it is, but it also tells you how you receive love and what love, how you identify it, and also when people are loving you, what how it is, how you receive it. So a good example is if you're, and this can be with parents, where some parents, their love language is giving gifts. So we all know those kids who grew up like, man, they got everything, and some kids was able to get everything and that was perfectly fine with that. But some kids at a young age, their thing was my mom and them, they bought me everything, but they didn't spend time with me. And then as they grow older, I think there's a disconnect because the parents, that's their love language. Like I'm loving you, I'm showing you how I love, where they're not altering their love language to accommodate their children. And then so the children have do not feel loved from their parents because their thing was the quality time, where they may have felt, oh well, one set of grandparents, they always wanted to spend time, they didn't have money, but they remember cooking in the kitchen with the grandmother or doing stuff outside with the grandfather or whatever, and they may feel that other people around them in their family may have loved them more because of the time that was spent, where the parents is, I think it's just necessary, like you have to adjust or you need to adjust, but also um identification of how you are, like you said, that self-awareness and knowing that other people may not be just like you definitely helps,
And I think
with it.
right. So the whole point of love languages, I agree that it's not the end all to be all, but it is a guide, right? And just kind of going off of what Renee said, it's like if you have a partner and who is their love language is to give gifts. That could be something that was in their family, and that's what fills their love cup. So because that's how they receive love, they then show it in that way. And so you have another partner, it's like you just want to give me things, but I'm not giving your time. And so these people haven't had that communication because the topic is, do you speak love, right? So if one person is speaking love and gifts and the other one speak love with quality time, that quality time person, if y'all haven't had that conversation of what fills your love cup, they're feeling like, well, I'm not getting the love I want, but you never told the person, I love spending time, this is what I like.
Yes.
But the other person's like, but I love you. I'm doing
Right.
all these things, I love
Yes.
you. So that
Yes.
is the point of it, so that you can be kind of on the same page and you make adjustments. I don't think people have to
Yes.
change, but I think it's being aware. If I have a partner who gifts is their love language, being aware that, hey, that's how they communicate with me, and the same vice versa. If you know that quality time is my love language, that don't mean don't give me no gifts. However,
Right.
if I'm saying,
Yeah.
babe, I want to go out and do this, and yeah, you couldn't do it, but you're like, you know what, she loves that. We need to go ahead and do that because I want her to feel the love from me.
Exactly. And we spoke about that, and I used that reference. I think it was like on Super Soul Sunday where Oprah and TD Jakes they were speaking, and then it was talking about with her mom and their relationship, and Oprah didn't feel like her mother just loved her that much, but her mom was like, I did all these things, and TD Jakes kind of broke it down and was like, you have some people, the volume of love that they can feel maybe 10 gallons, and then you have someone else, they only have one paint. So you pouring one paint in a container that holds 10 gallons, that's it's going to be very, very unequal. And even if they gave you a whole gallon, that still is not going to fill that 10 gallons. So I think sometimes um people, they could be doing all that they can and even more. It's just not enough. Because I was in a relationship with a guy, he was like, but I'm doing this and I'm doing that, and I recognized it. I was like, you know what, I know that you are. And I said, but the love that I requires more. And I was like, and you don't have the capacity, so
It's like
guess what?
Jimmy said, you realize people not, you run.
Yes. And I have a question. This may be for the therapist. It said, what if your partner is a narcissist?
Well, James looked like he had something on his mind that he wanted to say before
Well,
the
I mean,
Let it
I
off.
I was looking at from the standpoint of, I mean, it's great that we talk about the love languages, but then also too we have to talk about the person who's providing the gift or providing the quality time or the words of affirmation. Are they doing so out of trauma? Because sometimes that's not a healthy
Mm.
person. That person right there, what they're doing is, so for instance, they have an anxious attachment style, and for those who don't know, attachment styles are secure, anxious, dismissive, and fearful. And so when you're operating on an anxiety laden attachment style where you're so afraid of that individual leaving and moving on from you, so what you will do is you'll go and put a little cheese on the Whopper. You'll get them that iced out, man, studs. You'll go and try to go and put something on their Fashion Nova account. You'll go and do all these other little things so that you can keep them. Why? Because you're so fearful of being alone and rejection, as opposed to someone who is of a secure attachment style. Well, look, man, well, the sun come up or come down, man, you can leave, you can stay. It is what it is. And what that is, that shows strength, that shows power in that moment. And that shows a healthy boundary that you've been able to create with that person. What I found is a lot of people are in relationships now, and they're in unhealthy places because based on childhood development. They never developed
Mm.
correctly with their parents, so they feel like they have to earn their way into their mother or their father's lives or to their significant other, when all actuality, you can't buy love in the end anyway. So we have to be careful of that, of what we tell people.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so how do people recognize, like, okay, if the acts of service, like people, they're doing it out of the goodness of their heart and they want to do these things versus I'm doing this out of alternative motive? you know
Mm-hmm.
because sometimes some people, they want to be with you not because they want to be with you, they just can't accept the fact that you could be with somebody else. And I've seen this even in my, with people that I know. Some people that I know that's married, is not that they want to be with them forever, they just got married because they can't bear to see that person with someone
Somebody else.
else, which is very selfish,
Right.
but it happens.
And I mean, the thing is that sometimes, what do they say? Believe none of what you see and only half of what you hear. And so the outcomes that you see from
Mm.
different relationships or so does not denote that that person is really in love from a healthy standpoint. All that says is that they were able to check the boxes in their significant other's life. And does it mean that they are healthy? Does it mean that they know who they are, that they have a high level of emotional intelligence? No, not exactly. It doesn't mean that at
Mm.
all. But what it does say is that they are willing to go and acquiesce, comply to what their significant other wants in that time period. So, okay, be that as it may, that's cool. But let's not get it twisted, because we've seen the statistics of what all this stuff means in the end, and it's not looking very good, especially for people of color.
So what are the statistics?
One of them. Well, I guess I'll give you one of them because one of them was going to be your game time question. But first marriages end 50% of those end in divorce. Second marriage, 60% of those end in divorce, and third marriages, 70% or higher, they end in divorce. When we go to, there are more divorces now that are initiated after the age of 50 years old. You can look at AARP the statistics, and they have different.
Dang.
Oh shit, man, I'm real with mine. So,
No, but I'm just sitting on there saying, hey, RP, like, good God
well,
Almighty,
I
go
mean,
ahead.
they do studies on this stuff. So the thing is that they call them now silver splitters, and what you find is a lot is because of lack of financial resources, like mindedness, and sometimes abuse is why people are divorcing over the age of 50 years old. And those who do remarry again, they remarry again for people of like mindedness and have different. Well, I'm sorry, not different, but similar ideas, similar things, religious affiliations that they desire.
Mhm.
So my point is
Okay.
that all this stuff we got to be careful about how sometimes when we just say, if I go and I just do this for her, then no, 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 no. It is more complicated than just that
Yeah.
in itself.
So do you think, because I know that some pastors will, they suggest or they will not marry people unless they have done premarital counseling. Do you
Mm-hmm.
think sometimes that it needs to be done individually and together, and hopefully that counseling will bring out some things to show like, look, this is a red flag, this is something else, or whatever.
Well, unlike one of those popular evangelists or pastors who said that dating is probably not of the Bible, and I can't affirm or reject that concept. But what I will say is that it is best that you deal with person or someone according to knowledge. And so, how do you
Mhm.
do that? Sometimes you see them in every season of their lives. There's 4 seasons: fall, winter, spring, and summer. And there's also seasons of being broke, a season of being plentiful, seasons of being in a place where you are mentally exhausted, season of loss, season of gain.
Mm.
And so, if you don't see that individual or how they respond in those different seasons, unfortunately, you possibly will be missing information if
Yep.
you're entering into a lifelong, possibly contract with that person. And what I
Exactly.
found is like a lot of people just don't do that. They don't take the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so not rushing into anything is the key.
Right. And when you get to when you get to this new phase and new season, and a lot of times people say, oh, you changed, but maybe it's because you just never saw them in that season, because this one particular season may have lasted a long time.
It may have. I believe it may have. But that's why you are to take your time. What they tell us in the world of therapy or so like that, especially when we're giving assessments and evaluations and battery tools, is that the evaluation never ends. The day you come in my office, if the next day you come in my office, I am always evaluating. I'm always looking to see if there's something different coming out of you. And so that's sometimes I think it is with our relationships. So we are always valued. We're not on autopilot. This isn't old Craig. This ain't old Betty, June, and Jean. No, no,
Yeah.
no, 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 no. They could be in a different mental state. And if they are, you need to be mindful of that because that will affect the whole relationship altogether.
And we have a question from the viewers. It says, do you think that compatibility matters more than love in relationships?
I believe that compatibility is a necessary item. Why? Because sometimes love just isn't enough.
It's just
You
that
can
emotion. It's just
you can
butterflies.
love someone as much as you want but they are very toxic. They are abusive. They are harmful. They haven't got their own stuff together. So my love, my eros, my philios, my agape that I feel for them, unfortunately, is not enough for us to sustain a relationship. But guess what? When
Mm.
there's a level of compatibility, possibly there's a level of friendship. That's
Yeah.
my friend. And because we are
Oh.
friends, and if you can look, there's a 7 principles of making marriage work by John Gottman. When you look at he talks highly about the level of friendship. Friendship is important because that is my partner. Guess what? I understand their quips, their quirks, their quims, and whatever makes them them. I'm cool with that. Now, guess what? Doris down the street, she could hate it all she wants, but that doesn't bother me because, man, I'm all right with it. And that's the thing is that we have to get to a space where we recognize, man, who are the individuals that we are. First and foremost, being honest with ourselves about what we can
Mm-hmm.
and what we can't. And
Right.
then also, man, going and looking at that from the respect to relationships, and that's romantic, business, entrepreneurial, social, familial, or anything like that. We have to nurture them, and we have to be very in tune.
Exactly, exactly. And that goes back to, I hope that you don't mind me. I brought up a point when Myochi and I was having a conversation earlier in this week, coming up to this, and we was just talking about some things in our personal life, and we was talking about standards and stuff like that. And I said, do you not know it is so crazy that you're talking about she and our relationship, that I hold her to a standard, and if she don't meet that standard or if she cross a certain line, like immediately, like within less than 24 hours, like, girl, look, this was not cool, I didn't like this or whatever. But however, in those romantic relationships, I will move that line all the way around to it can become just a point, and it's just like where I get more from her friendship than I have in like those physical, romantic relationships, because I get that push, like the encouragement I get. And to say all five love language, because even like when I see her, and it's like, oh, okay, and it's a hug, it's like, okay, it's a embrace where it's just like, girl, you just didn't know how much I needed that hug. And when we talk on the phone or when we see each other now, since we're not in the same state, there's a genuine, like, I'm happy, that she called. And if I hadn't heard from her for a day, and it's like, wait a minute, what's going on? Why I hadn't heard from you? Where you been at? And stuff like that. Whereas with other people, sometimes it's just like, well, I ain't gonna say nothing because you don't want to disturb the water. And I think that a lot of people, men and women alike, we hold our friends and family members to a higher standard. And it's like, nah, you got to meet this. If not, you cut off. If not, we got to talk about it. And you're going to come to some type of resolution. Where in those romantic relationships, you'll do a little dance and a shuffle, or you try to, at least in my case, you try to find some type of justification. You having a two-sided conversation within yourself to try to justify the behavior that the person did, which now when we had that opinion, I said, that is absolutely stupid. It is
And I think that goes
so
back to what
stupid
James
to
was
do.
saying earlier. That comes to your attachment style, and with growth, I think, becoming stronger with that piece. We're not reacting based on I don't want to lose you. It's like, no, I'm strong and I'm secure, and if you leave, you leave. I mean, and I think it goes back to the attachment style. I don't know. What do you think, James? Like,
I mean, that's something that I've told myself or anything like that, man. No matter who's here or who's not, man. The fact is that if this thing going to fall off the fucking wheels, man, at 2 minutes and let it fall off and burn down.
I know it's right.
and let's roll, because I think sometimes people, they operate from such an unhealthy and unempowered state that
yeah,
because they don't do that, then they do themselves on their own disservice. Then they come sit on my couch lamenting and crying to me about what X and Y and Z has done. But the fact is, I'm like, you were there the whole time and you didn't speak up for yourself. You didn't utilize your boundaries. You didn't teach them how to treat you. So therefore, they were going to do anything that they wanted to do in that moment.
yeah.
And unfortunately, it's the access. Sometimes it's the ignorance that we practice on a daily basis because we're so educated now, but we're dummies. That the fact is that we don't have the
Educated fools. That's what my great grandmother used to call them. Educated fools.
And that's bad. We got to do better.
Yeah.
We just got to do better.
Yes, and because I think in the comments, Yetta, she said that she and her husband has been together for 20 years. Said every time the anniversary come around, she asked, "Do you want to renew this contract?" But she was like, "It's that conversation," and I think a lot of times communication is the foundation, in my opinion, to everything. So some people, they don't know how to actually effectively communicate. I think people that have a voice, they know how to talk, but they don't know how to effectively convey their thoughts, their feelings, and
Yeah.
their emotions into words without getting, so turned up, for a lack of better terms. Or if somebody says something to them, they can't distinguish this is their experience versus they attacking you. So and I think that comes with maturity, but then sometimes, like you said, it comes back to childhood trauma. If you seen everybody in the house, they talking, but everybody talking at one another, nobody's really communicating, and it's just a whole lot of, wahala. That's what they know how to do.
Well,
Or if
Renee,
everybody in the house quiet,
well, let me add to that. Let me add to that part.
okay,
It's sometimes when it comes to communication, it's not that a person can't communicate and they can't talk. It's that when you first get with a person or your partner, individual, you hardly know them. Everything is
true.
in that joining stage where, man, you're learning, it's exciting, you're growing. But then it gets into that other stage and gets to that other gear where you really are learning about them on the day to day. And so
Mm-hmm.
the thing is that after you built up a bunch of negative experiences of maybe expressing yourself, having the conversation, being able to talk and talk through things or so, and then you got a response back that was very assaultive, verbally abrasive at times or so. Some people shut down. It's like, the fuck, I'm not gonna say anything to this person no more, and
True.
that's there. And I'll be honest with you, I mean, we can't walk away from that. So it's not necessarily about communicating per se, but what has the environment produced? The relationship,
Mm,
what is taking place. If we can't have uncomfortable conversations and dialogue in a manner that's going to promote our relationship, then we have an issue. And sometimes it's because people have been abrasive around the ways where some guys will shut down, some women will shut down. And I don't blame them, because who wants to be a punching bag all the time?
true. True. So, do
I
you
think
think that comes from their childhood in the way that they come that happens, like the person that's being verbally abrasive,
Mhm.
or it's just sometimes some people they just are.
I mean, yeah, I mean, it comes from childhood, or and then the thing is that it can manifest itself in a number of different ways. Where that person, they begin to, they have to be abrasive. They have to be very vigilant at that point in time. Why? Because they felt like they were being bullied while they were in
Mhm.
elementary, middle school, high school, early college, or whatnot. So when they got to become an adult and in their adult relationships, it's like the flashlight cop. No, it's like the kid who was the dweeb or the dork in high school, but then all of a sudden now he's the chief of police or so. He's made a come up for himself. I spy private eye super sleuth. So my thing,
All my life I had to fight. So
exactly. My thing is,
it
don't
is
do that.
bad because I
Right.
know someone else said my mouth is slick, and this is like, Lord knows I know my mouth is slick. But I do know some people I can't talk to them like that, because some people, it's not that I test the waters, it's just like, honey, you can't handle this. You can't handle this mouth. And it's not that I can't control it. It's just that, okay, I got to speak differently towards you, because you just not go, it's not that they go shut down, but it's like,
Yeah,
no.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Mm-mm.
yeah. But you did say it right, Renee, because that's a part of emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is not necessarily just knowing about you per se, but it's knowing about how you being you affects others. And so
Mhm.
when
Right.
you come on the scene and you are pretty much confident, or so someone else may look at that as, oh, she's just cocky, she's just arrogant, or so like that. And you got to
Mm,
know that. But and a lot of times that's nothing to do with you, but a lot to do with that other person and how they receive you being you.
But I think it's
mm.
important to be able to control your slick mouth, depending on the relationship. And slick mouth meaning what you're saying. If you know that you said something to someone who you're in a relationship with, if I say this, it's gonna blow up, and you
Right, 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 right.
that means you want it to blow up, and you might want to do some figuring out of why you're trying to blow up your relationship.
Oh, definitely. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't disagree with you at all with that,
Yeah.
man. A soft answer does turn away wrath, but the thing is also too, you have to know of how soft sometimes you have to have these discussions with certain parties, because guess what? We all operate under a different threshold. One couple may say something to the nature of, man, what if I ain't even tripping? I'm like, fuck him, fuck you too. But then the other person might say something like that. That was very mean. That was very harsh. You're so disrespectful. You're just so evil. You're
Yeah.
just so this and that. And then you at that point you just say, well, dang, can I be me? Can I really have these conversations? A
And you
lot of
have to be
times it
honest
all
with yourself
depends.
about that. Because that
Yeah.
couple who one person to say fuck you and the other one like fuck you too, and later they just happy and watching TV
See,
together.
that's me. That's me because guess what? I'm gonna have to be with somebody because guess what? As we know, I am a cusser. So guess what? There's gonna be some times I'm gonna cuss your motherfucking ass out. I'm gonna do it, but then that should not be the end of the relationship. But then some people just like, man, I can't
Right,
even
right.
can't cuss in conversation. I'm gonna give you an example. I used to talk to this guy one time, and he didn't call me for one day. And then so the next day he called me and he said, "You didn't call me." And I said, "And your fingers went broke." He felt like it was so disrespectful to me. I'm like, that was literally nothing. Like his fingers was not broken. Like you dial me now, or you dial with your tongue, or I don't know. Hell, you could have dialed it with your foot. But it's like he was like, see, that's the problem. Your mama raised you wrong. You don't have no respect for no men. I said, hold up about these mamas. Because like don't bring cookie up in this thing. And it's just like then he did see a different side because it was just like,
Did it
mamas and
go
all
all
that
the
other
way
kind
left?
of stuff. Girl, I flipped it over. I ain't gonna say we did. I flipped it over and destroyed it, and it was no resemblance of any type of transportation or road thereof. And it was just like, that's the disrespect that I can't give you every day. I was like, but look, do not, under no circumstances, sit up there and say something about the way my mother raised me, because if that's the way that it is, then you shouldn't be with me.
Well, and
Because
I think
trust
that's a
me,
perfect example of if you know how you are and this is who you are, that means you need somebody that y'all can communicate in that way, and
Right,
it's not disrespectful to them. Y'all
right,
move on because
right.
y'all on a common ground. Like
Yeah,
I think that's not disrespectful. They know you and you know them, and they can handle it. Like James was saying, like the different levels. You have to know that. And if you find somebody that's mad about, like, listen, baby, if you mad about this,
yeah.
we can't do this. As he said
mhm.
earlier, run.
Run. No, no, for real. Just
I think
run.
it's run.
I should have ran faster
Run it, run
sooner
it.
than I did, but I didn't because it was just always he was just like little stuff that just says like needles on my skin. It was like if somebody say that, just throw them away, like because like what is that? It feel like needles on my skin. I was like that's like numbness, when you done laid on your arm wrong, then the needles come. It's like your arm don't went to sleep,
Exactly.
but he just was I don't know.
So we have
Child.
to not lie to ourselves. I think that's the biggest thing, because if you're free, as we're getting older, and we, especially at this time, we've had relationships and we know what works and what we need. Don't lie to yourself. Don't. It's
Hold
kind of
on.
like when they're having it, like, you know what, this is not going to
Love
work.
this.
I enjoy time with you. I may enjoy other things with you,
Mm-hmm.
but this is not going. Especially if you're looking for something long term. If it's
Uh-huh.
more than a sneaky link, you know what I'm saying, or a date here and two, you might need run.
Right.
And Yetta, who has been married 20 years, and her man do check-ins every year, she say they roll with the punches because they definitely do the fuck you. And then later we all good. She has the person that's for her. That's why they put in the past.
I mean, I agree. I agree with that, and I think sometimes in our society, especially with African Americans, we look at the people who have what we call the picturesque type of relationship or type of marriage. But the thing is that to be honest with you, you'll have individuals who necessarily they'll use abrasive language towards one another, but they've been married, man, 25 to 30 years. And they have an understanding of one another. They understand the gears that each other can get to. They know how to
Mhm.
apologize. They know how to communicate with
Yeah.
one another, and they don't operate in an avoidant situation. There's when John Gottman, he said there's four horsemen of the apocalypse when it comes to marriage breaking down. One of them would be defensiveness, another one would be stonewalling, another one would be contempt, another one would be strong criticism, sarcasm, and the other one is avoidance. Avoidance is
Mm.
so negative because you're not talking about anything, you're not engaging with one another, you're deciding that, hey, look, well, I'm just gonna keep the peace and I'm just gonna go with myself. Meanwhile, man, you are boiling hot and you are hot as fish grease when it comes to that other individual. You can't stand them. You starting to withdraw yourself. You see old Susie who you want to give a Patty Duke in a 3-point stance because she's available right there. So my point being is that this stuff is necessary. I mean, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with that. And as a lot of um seasoned relationship people, they would tell you, you don't know what the pillow talk is. You know, everybody else, you see what's on the outside. Because I remember one of my classmates was telling me, I was complimenting him on his mom and dad. He was like, man, you don't know, them niggas don't like each other. Oh, I shouldn't say that. But that's what he said. I'm just repeating what he said. And I was like, for real? He was like, they get up, they get dressed, and outside the house, you wouldn't know. You would think, oh, okay, it's just like, you know, the first year of them meeting and dating and first year of marriage or whatever. But when they go home, it's like, don't look at me. You like, nobody's talking to nobody. But then they put on this whole facade. I was like, I know I couldn't do that, because 9 times out of 10, if I'm mad, the way I get mad, and I have consistently been mad like my life, I'm gonna be mad in the house and I'm mad outside. Everybody knows. And 9 times out of 10, if I don't want to talk to you, I'm not going nowhere with you.
And I think in the age of social media, that is so real. The life people have and the life people show a lot of times is very different. And that relationship goes like that is doing people in.
Yes, it is.
I don't know how people relationships are, and it doesn't mean that it's bad, but no relationship is perfect either. So being that this good relationship that works for this couple, but they may have certain things in their relationship that you might not like. So they are not relationship goals for you.
Exactly.
Your own relationship goals, but that with social media, like, you should treat me like this. Oh, I wouldn't want, for the couple, for Yetta and her husband, they love each other. They might say fuck you every now and then, but they good, right? Somebody sees that and like, oh, I don't want to be in a relationship like that, as opposed to the story you just told, who on the outside they look like they're all happy and lovey, but inside they just roommates.
Yeah.
So
and then you do have some people, they you don't see that type of affection, but that's the way that they do, and they absolutely love one another. Like, they bond is unbreakable, but it may not be your idea of what you should see. And so that's what makes everybody unique, is their relationship, is what works for them, and also it's their love language. Because I know one of my close friends, her and her husband, she was like, we don't never hold hands. I'm like, what? But that ain't their love language, but they solid, they good, but that's what we're look, you gotta give me a little bit of PDA sometime.
I need you to hold my hand, rub my booty when you pass by. But that's for me. James, do you have anything that you want to add to this conversation as we're coming to a close?
I mean, my thing for everyone is that they have to be honest with themselves. They have to stop comparing themselves to other people, other relationships, and they have to go and find the relationship that works for them. Understanding that relationship is two imperfect people coming together, hoping to work and figure this thing out. So one thing I would say is that when we are in these types of situations, we have to be honest with ourselves. We have to be honest that, man, that person you see before you, they are already evolving the moment that you met them. But the thing is that when you are, one, aware of your needs, and also, two, you become aware of the other individual's needs, you have a duty to execute and respond to that. And if you can choose life, you can choose death. You can choose life of the relationship or death of it. The choice is yours. And no one else, and granted, it's the idea of, well, there's greener grass out there, there's other people out there. I like to tell sometimes people when they come to my office, no one is coming to save you. No one is coming, man, to rescue you from this situation. And so you're going to have to make of what you're going to make of it. And if it doesn't work, it is of your own fault and it is on your own volition. So.
Yes, absolutely. So how do you apply those same things to non-romantic relationships, let's say between children and parents, families, or friends? How do you apply that same thing?
One of the things is that it's some of the similar concepts. You have to be honest with yourself. You have to understand too of what people can do in your life. I think we have high expectations of what other individuals are supposed, or they're supposed to love me like this, or they're supposed to treat me like this, or they're supposed to do this too. No, they don't have to do anything but be who they are. If they fit into your life, if they fit into your way of life and your mold, then so be it. That goes for family, friend, or foe. That goes, man, mother or father. There are certain things you can get from your mother that you can't get from your father, and vice versa. There are certain things you might not get from neither one of them, or anything like that. Let's just be honest. If we keep focusing on Warden, June Cleaver, and the Cosby Show as our guides and our ideas of what we're supposed to do in these moments, we deceive ourselves royally. So that's my point, is that we have to go and figure these things out for ourselves. No one else has that answer.
Okay.
Ooh, this has been so good. James, thank you so much for joining us tonight. This has been really, really good. I know on your podcast that you play a little game, so we're going to switch gears.
Okay.
And so we kind of want you to bring it to us. I know you did one of the questions earlier. Do you have any additional questions that?
I got questions now.
I hope I got answers.
I know, right?
Win.
They call Game Time on his podcast.
I want to win.
Don't know the questions, so let's see what happens. This has been a good convo. Good convo.
All right, so right now we're in game time.
Okay.
So,
all right.
And usually what I say is that, if you get all 5 of them right, you get a little bit of a Minor Man podcast swag. If you don't, I will be abrasive and probably roast you for the remainder of the 2 minutes of the show that I'm on. So here we go on that one.
All right, my mouth slick just in case.
Question number 1. What is the average age of divorce in the United States?
The age, how old people are?
Yes, the average age of divorce in the United States.
35.
Ooh, that's my answer.
That is incorrect.
Good. 30.
That is correct. The age is correct.
What?
Oh! All right.
Okay.
30 years.
Question number 2. What is the percentage of second marriages that end in divorce?
Oh, you said that
40%.
No,
30.
he said it was like 60%. You said that earlier.
40. I think I've changed my answer several times. 40%.
Renee got that right.
Yeah, no.
It kept going up. It kept going up.
60 to 70. Question number 3. Of the divorce rates by ethnicity, after 2015, what was the divorce rate of Asian Americans in this country?
40%.
No.
It was probably about 60%.
20%.
Renee got that right.
What is going on? I quit.
You weren't paying no attention.
We didn't talk about that.
He did break it down.
No, he didn't say Asian.
He did not say age. He said age of. He said by black people.
Asian.
Question number 4.
Why are we talking about Asian people? What they got to do with the president in China?
Question number 4. Of the men, of available men in this country.
Okay.
What is the percentage of them who make over $100,000?
Bam! We already know that.
23%.
Huh?
Yeah, it's about 23%. It's about 19.8 million men in America that make over $100,000.
What is it?
It's, according to Pew Research, it's 8%.
Over 100,000?
Over $100,000.
Oh, he said over 100,000.
I forget what that song was. Said turn my music up. It was Aaliyah. Turn my music up.
Oh boy.
Before she was like, turn my music up. Turn my music up.
Are we talking
You
about people
can't
that
hear
make
Renee.
like 500,000?
He said 100,000.
And
100,000.
over 100,000.
Yes, the
The reason
median
why
is
we're
the
having this
median.
conversation is because yesterday we was looking up this high value man topic for another time, and the definition of it, right? It's like, oh, this is the definition. So then I was like, not that many people make over 100,000, and she looked it up and it said 23%. And then you maybe get the question wrong today, Renee.
So last question. Question number 5. No
I have
swag,
some.
no swag for both of you. But question number 5. Of the
Okay.
divorces filed in this country, the United States,
Uh-huh.
what's the percentage of them that are filed by females?
Ooh, it's probably more of them. 80%. Probably 100%. But I'm gonna go with 80.
I'm gonna go with 70.
Well, Renee and Myochi, your second answers were correct. 70 to 80% of divorces are filed by females in this country.
Miss Dickey said 95% exactly, because that man don't want to let it go. He don't believe the word of the day, fat meat is greasy.
I ain't fooling with y'all.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. You can't look. You cannot just tap out on your fist guy friend.
Don't
Come
be like
on
that.
now. Come on now.
Good. Was that our last question?
Okay, well, I have a question
to
for
get some more
you.
points.
I have a question for you, because I know everybody's like, oh, he's been a therapist. He's cool. He's chill, but we really want to know you. So what is the craziest thing that you have ever done for love? Don't hold back now.
Craziest thing that I've ever done for love.
It sounds like, look, when you did that, you leaned up like you had a belly ache, like, oh, you took me back.
Y'all want that? I'll give that to you.
Yeah.
Got a vasectomy.
Shut it up.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I would have. So how many children do you have, James?
2.
Okay. Well, because I used to work into infertility, I will say that's not the end all be all. Not that sometimes they can't reconnect or whatever and have a good flow, but there is procedures where they actually go into the scrotum and to collect sperm cells, and then you can go on from there. I don't know if you know or not, but I just want to let you know, you just
It ain't over. It ain't over.
It's not. It's not. It's not.
I mean, if you don't want it to be over.
Man, she talked you into getting that Barker treatment. That's who she is.
I mean,
You want us to go get her?
So I understand if a couple is making that decision, it is much easier for the man to get a vasectomy and then a woman have a whole procedure getting cut off. So I understand making that decision. And that doesn't mean the end all to be all, because as Renee said, you're not sterile.
Nah.
You just, I mean, you could, that mean you could.
But you're gonna have to pay a little money on the front end. That's for sure.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You gonna pay the piper now.
Gonna pay the piper. Yeah.
Pay the piper.
Yeah. Well, that's all right. What's the craziest thing you've done for love, Myochi?
The craziest thing I did for love? I don't know.
You know.
I don't know the craziest thing. Like, it have to be something
in the comment section. Write down what's the craziest thing that you did for love. I ain't gonna call your name or nothing like that. I'm just gonna read it out.
You go first. I'm thinking. What's the craziest thing you did for love? I'm thinking about mine.
The craziest thing I've done for love. Oh my goodness.
I have mine.
I wanted to then say, like, in what category? Okay. Oh, Erica was like, have a kid. I wanted to say have a baby, but then I was like, I don't know if that's gonna go over real good because you really gotta love somebody to have a baby by. Miss Vicky said, I'm leaving. So, I don't know if that's the crazy thing that you did for love or not, but probably just continuously trying to pay our bills, buns me, and you ain't learned your lesson. You still out here living reckless. I know that's probably like the most craziest thing I've done for love. Like, you know what? To jail you go. You stay there. Mainly stay there because if I gotta get a bill bondsman, you're already in there. So you need to stay there. Stay
I
there.
think the craziest thing I did for love was invest some money in a business. And it was money that I didn't have. It
Mm.
was like get a loan to give you this money. Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Girl, you ain't tell me about that one.
for sure. Like, I had to think
You
about it.
ain't run that past me because I'd have been like, girl, no.
I've done some crazy things like popped up, da da da, but it seemed like we was in the vein of what you do for love, like not the crazy things you did when you was in love. However, yeah, that's probably the craziest, dumbest.
Girl, you definitely didn't run that by me because you know how I would have been like, no,
This was old. This
no.
wasn't recent, honey. This
What
wasn't.
did you know me during this time?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay, that's why.
I probably
See,
wouldn't have told.
God sent you my way
I
for
am
them
more than
quick
sure I
meals.
did not share that with anyone. So I'm more than sure it was like, okay, I'm gonna just do this. But yeah, that's the crazy thing I did for love.
Okay, okay. Look, that is. See, God sent you my way, and I'll pass the interstate. So it's, guess what? No more loans for them people. No, no,
No.
no, no.
Well, this is coming to the end, guys. And again, we just say thank you, James. But first, before we go, we definitely want where can people find you? They can find your podcast. And if they're in the Nashville area, if they need to find a therapist as well.
Oh man! So give you 30 seconds. You can find me on Instagram on at Mind of a Man Podcast. That's at Mind of a Man Podcast. Or you can look for me at Bush Counseling. You can look at my website as bushcounselingservices.com. Or I mean, you can just send me an email at james@bushcounselingservices.com or james@justjamesbush. And my podcast is available on iHeart, Stitcher, Deezer, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. The list goes on and on. Amazon. List goes
We're
on
trying
and
to be like you when we grow
Yeah.
up.
And we'll definitely have your links and everything in our description when we get
Definitely.
everything uploaded. So that if anyone wants to find James, listen to his podcast. It's a really good podcast. And again, if you need his services, contact him. So as we move into the next section at the end, we just want to say happy birthday. That is something that we always want to do to end our podcast.
Absolutely. We definitely have some birthdays. Shakira, she turned 22. Miss Lydia, Kojak, my big brother Bernard, um, Reggie, he finally made it to 40. And Kevin, aka Duke, and Brad,
And we
and my
want
cousin Tanisha, aka Nisi.
Yes, and we want to give a special shout out to one of our uh, most faithful viewers, Chiza. She has a birthday coming up this
Ooh,
Thursday, so happy
happy
birthday,
birthday.
Chiza! Fernette put in the comments that her dad's birthday is in February, so
Yes.
happy birthday to everyone from the 40 spot. We thank you for watching. We
Oh,
would
we
love
actually
for
had one more. Brody, he finally made it to the 40 club. He didn't want to come, but guess what? We just yanked him on over in there. But yes, Brody is 40.
Well, listen, either you come and or you don't come over. So what's the alternatives? But happy birthday to all the 40 I'm sorry, all the February birthdays. We would love to shout you out. So anyone, please email us at the40spot@gmail.com. That is the 40spot@gmail.com. We don't need your last name, we don't need the date, but your name and your birth month. is all we need so that we can celebrate you in life and that you have continual success during the next year. So thank you so much. So our next show, everybody, is March 6th. Just a reminder, we stream live every other Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. And our podcast,
And now Spotify.
and now Spotify, not live, but you can find it within a week of the taping. Please share, like, subscribe, tell your friends, your mama, your cousin, your grandmother, your whoever.
Co-workers, everybody.
Like, subscribe, download. And like we said, our next podcast is March 6th, and we are going to be discussing Don't Look Up. I don't know if some people haven't watched it. If you get a chance, watch it on Netflix. It's this movie. It's kind of like the sky is falling, but nobody's watching. We're not going to really be doing a review of the movie, but the concept of the movie, how things just go on. And for those who are woke, it's like is ignorance bliss? Is it bliss to just
Yes.
continue to live your life, or should you look up and see that the sky is actually falling? So
Because
we
once you woke, it's hard to go back to sleep.
honey. So please join us on for the next podcast. Again, thank you, James, so much for being
Thank
with
you
us
so
tonight.
much. Thank
Um,
you. Thank you.
definitely have to get you back at some point.
Yes.
So please, and again, we just say everybody, please like, subscribe, follow us so you can see what we are doing. And we just enjoy y'all. Thank you for tuning in live or on the replay.
Yes.
Renee, do you have
Absolutely.
anything you want to add?
Um, No, the only thing that I have, everybody's saying healing energy, positive energy, because before our next broadcast, my son will be having surgery on the 4th. So just keep him in your thoughts and your prayers and everything as he undergoes this major surgery, that everything goes off well. He has good healing time and he just back to being his good old normal self, eating up everything in the house. And he could just move forward healthier with his life. With
Yeah.
his life, James, I'm gonna be reaching out to you because he definitely needs like a positive black man. I do have insurance, so guess what? We're gonna pay you for that. We're gonna pay you for that because you did not say that you you volunteered, big brothers, big sisters. Like he's at that age where it's just like, you know what? Just hearing some stuff from a different source. So I'm
Yep.
definitely going to reach out because you all are the unicorns that find a black male therapist.
Yeah.
Yes. If you have sons out there, cousins, tell them to go and be therapists because we as the everybody we need it, and definitely having somebody that looks like you so you don't have to go and explain how to be black and why this is this, and you can just really get to what you need to get help with. So I appreciate you for that.
Thank
Yes. And with all of that, we want to end with saying this. In all of your loving, don't forget to love yourself.
Yes.
Have a wonderful, prosperous week, and we will continue to join you on your path and your journey to 40 and through 40. Y'all have a good
Amen. All right, bye.